So Ishvara is a Sanskrit term, a Vedic term for God, but we have to use the term God carefully in any discussion on Bhakti Yoga because we don't want it mired in positive or negative connotations. We want an open understanding of God, and the way I like to call it is G.O.D, the great omniscient dimension. It is the ultimate omniscience. That is God for me, that knowingness in which we participate from inside. So this great omniscient dimension, this Ishvara in Bhakti Yoga, is our goal, to not just occasionally connect with it, but to serenade it, to be aligned with it, to love it. And why love it? Because love is the easiest emotion. We all have likes and dislikes, and that like grows. When the likes grow, they become love. We know how to receive and give love. And so when we start loving this experience, this knowledge, this phenomena, we draw it closer to ourselves. And it has an uplifting effect upon us. And our whole life changes. And we have dukkha nivritti, or we overcome sorrows. It's like you've been touched by divine grace. And it's not a one-off miracle. It's a continuous revelation of miracles. And I'm reading some of your shares on our member community forum, and I'm seeing dukkha nivritti, the reduction of sorrow. Real-time sorrow is reducing the more you're bringing Ishvara into your life. I have a member who walked into a restaurant to eat alone, and she used to feel self-conscious doing that. She would feel some version of sorrow in that. But when she walked in to a restaurant after her studies with Bhakti Yoga, she didn't see others. She only saw Ishvara in different bodies, and she was amused and pleased. I'm sure she had a great dinner. And her dukkha, her sorrow, dukkha means sorrow, reduced. This way, the first benefit of Bhakti Yoga, Bhakti literally means to engage with, to revere, devotional love. It's not devotion of necessarily rituals, but if they give you joy, that's fine. But devotion is like we become devoted to someone we love. It's that kind of a devotion, devotional love towards that magnificent, great, omniscient dimension which comes to us as a personalized experience. And yet it is universal. So the first benefit is dukkha nivritti. Nivritti means the end of. And another reason dukkha nivritti happens is we realize that the sum total of our life experiences, we don't take them so seriously now. We realize that we are in a Ishvara setup. This is a magical land where unexpectedly some good things come to us, unexpectedly some difficult things come to us. Sometimes sorrow comes and stays for a couple of seasons. Sometimes happiness comes, but nothing stays permanently. It's constantly a shifting landscape. And yet, if we understand that this is all part of the Maya or magic of Ishvara, then we are not so dismayed when difficulty comes to us. In fact, we are able to grow from it, reinvent ourselves, come out with some hidden gems in the depths of the sorrow. In the depths of the sorrow. We realize we have complete, where as we develop our relationship with the intelligence of Ishvara, we realize that there is nothing malevolent here. For example, as a child, I lost my mother. I was 10. And for a while there, I had this angst within me that if Ishvara is all that Ishvara is said to be, why did I lose my mother? You know? Now that I know what I know, not just intellectually, but in my Hridayam, all the way in my being, in the core of my being, I have Shraddha or trust in Ishvara's domain, laws. I understand that facing her loss at that early age was a necessary soul curriculum for me and route to discovering my special relationship with Divine Mother and to becoming a mother-like teacher to so many. And that was enough. That's all I needed. 10 years of biological tending. That is all I needed. It was not, I was deprived. And this is not just sugarcoating a loss. This truly is so. That there is no malevolence in Ishvara's laws, cosmic laws. And so first there is dukkha nivritti, destruction of sorrow. Then there is ananda prapti, or discovery of joy. And this joy is not connected to our mind, because mind, it's like water, and I write about it in my book, Sovereign Self. Water always flows downwards. So our mind, leave it to itself, it finds the lowest frequency. But there is a kind of joy that lives beyond the mind, which is connected to the Ishvara dimension, the great omniscient dimension. That is why religions beckon a lot of us, because it does give us, some of that joy. But through Bhakti Yoga, because yoga means, it has two words. Yoga means the goal, and yoga also means the path. So when we go on the path of bhakti or devotional love, as laid down by the ancient seers, our mind becomes quieter and quieter. And when it's quiet, we get to access a deeper realm within us, the realm of the spirit. And we are able to experience greater joy for no reason. And that joy translates as positivity, creativity, light, enthusiasm, cheerfulness, happiness, okayness, and a resilience to recover when life puts us in a corner. I would love to have you clap 2-3 times if you're experiencing some of that joy, and I'll see you clap. And actually, why don't we unmute them, and then we hear ourselves clapping. I would love to do that. And I'll put you in a gallery view and we'll clap together. Okay. Yeah. This is the joy factor here. That's right. So this is another benefit. So it's not just, okay, I'm somehow having less stress. You're actually connecting with Ananda Prapti, Ananda, the joy that has no reason to be there, but it's there. It's more resilient. It just gives you greater ongoing happiness. So connection through Bhakti Yoga was important, because when we connect with this all-pervading, unbelievably omniscient, all-knowing, which knows our past, present, future, which is the keeper of all laws of the universe, which is the governor of the creation, the sustenance, and the dissolution of the known universe, the unknown universe, the parallel galaxies, everything, which is the all-powerful consciousness. When we just have a simple experience of love, devotion towards this, it's like we are entering a magnetic field. That's what's happening. And the samsara ties, the samsara bondages, where we were like worried and stressed and we wanted to control this and control, they kind of start snapping. And you become a bit, and I'm going to use the word carefully, but you become a bit careless. But I'm saying it in a good way. You become carefree. You are less caught up in trying to make this strange samsara experience go a certain way, because it doesn't. It's not meant to go a certain way. It's going perfectly the way it should. So, so this truth of the Bhakti Yoga has been given out by yogis, but unfortunately, Bhakti wasn't fully understood. And there are wrong historical accounts on the internet and artificial intelligence that it was a movement that began in 14th century in India, whereas the first verse of the Rig Veda, which is the Mother Veda, is a Bhakti Yoga verse. And you cannot imagine any kind of yogic journey without bhakti. Why? Because yoga is the path. Yoga is also the goal of what? Of spiritual transcendence, of liberation from samsara, of self-realization, because that self within is one with Ishvara. So we go into a special dimension of being and living while alive, and also after we let go of this body. So it's a very desirable goal known as mukti, samadhi, moksha, nirvana. These are all the ideas around it. But different pathways were created. Karma yoga was a pathway which is a huge pathway of how to live and work and act and serve in this world with remembrance of Ishvara. But it has been reduced to one word, selfless service. And a lot of teachers are benefiting from volunteers giving endless hours of selfless service. No, it's very hard to be selfless. It's sooner or later somebody feels deprived. But if we bring Ishvara into the equation, if I'm simply being selfless in opening up the Vedic study circle to all who want to be here, then sooner or later I will either develop a sense of superior ego, look at me, I'm doing this, or I will experience resentment on a rainy day when I want to just lie down and read a book and instead I have to teach a satsang. But if I'm offering what I'm offering, such as this knowledge, whatever I have been given, and I'm passing it on, moving it on. But I think that Ishvara within me is teaching and Ishvara within you is receiving. And who am I to be teaching and who are you to be receiving? This is all Ishvara's world, Ishvara's universe, Ishvara's knowledge. Ishvara came into my guru's form. Ishvara is giving through me to the Ishvara sitting in you. Then where is the ego? This is Karma Yoga. But if we don't have knowledge of Ishvara, or if we throw the baby with the bathwater, if we reduce Ishvara to, oh, just a bunch of Hindu gods, and we really don't want to talk about the Hindu roots of yoga, and let's make it so universal yoga that we actually go from instead of universal, it's irreverent and it's downright lopsided, then what is Karma Yoga if we do not have knowledge of Ishvara? What is Jnana Yoga? Jnana Yoga is not just self, 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 because who knows when the ego starts parading as self. When we realize that the soul of the soul, listen carefully, that the soul of the soul is Ishvara, then we understand what is that self. It truly is a superior self. It truly is a magnificent self. It truly is a sovereign self. It truly is a compassionate self. It truly is a non-dual self. So Jnana Yoga, without the knowledge of Ishvara, without the devotion to Ishvara, becomes mere intellectual gymnastics. And Raj Yoga. Let's talk about Raj Yoga, or which is also known as Upasana Yoga in the Vedic source texts. And one of the most popular texts elucidating the path, the eight-limbed path of Raj Yoga, is Patanjali's Yoga Sutras. And why did Patanjali say that by devotion and surrender to Ishvara, Samadhi can be attained in Sutra 23 of the section 1? Ishvara pranidhanada. Why? Why did he bring up Ishvara? Now, Patanjali's Yoga Sutra is a succinct text. The sutras are very succinct statements. And it was a reflection of an ongoing conversation. It was not a primary text. It was an advanced text for seekers, like some of you here in this gathering, who already know somewhat about Ishvara, have a affinity and academic knowledge of Ishvara. So if I say to you that devotion to Ishvara will hasten Samadhi for you, you understand that Ishvara is not a person. It is not an anthropomorphological god wearing Hindu clothes from the 12th century. Ishvara is the colossal cosmic intelligence. And really connecting with that will calm your mind, which is an aspect of that higher mind. And then you can go beyond to connect with the spirit, the soul, which is a dimension of Ishvara. So you will understand, but a lot of Westerners, where this book became really popular, didn't understand. And so Ishvara is an uncomfortable topic, whereas Bhakti Yoga is woven throughout Raja Yoga or Ashtanga Yoga. It was removed. And that, unfortunately, was a great tragedy that happened in the West. Then in Sutra 25, Sage Patanjali says, Tatra nirati shayam sarvagnya bijam. That Ishvara, in that Ishvara we find omniscience unsurpassed. Even clarifying that what is Ishvara? Ishvara is not a mythological character. Ishvara is the cosmic mind, the cosmic intelligence, the cosmic consciousness. It is the omniscience unsurpassed. So even you can contort your body all you want, and you can chant Om the loudest that you can, but unless you have purified your hidayam, your heart area, your heart and mind, and you are really echoing and vibrating in alignment with that cosmic truth, you cannot discover it inside you. You cannot. Even though Ishvara dwells within you as your own self, because Ishvara is everything. What is there but Ishvara?